A master and their companion share a peaceful moment under moonlight. The master offers wine, reflecting on a similar occasion over a decade ago when they first shared drinks. The companion politely declines, preferring to let the master enjoy alone. The master recites a philosophical poem called Fleeting Days that contemplates mortality, time, and the mythical dragon Julon that controls day and night. The poem imagines defeating this creature to halt time itself, preventing death and allowing eternal life. The master ponders what paradise the world would become if everyone enjoyed eternal life, no aging, illness, or death. They envision a world where people would have endless time to develop wisdom and relationships, where conflicts would diminish in the face of immortality. The companion dismisses the possibility of immortality as mere fantasy, but the master challenges this skepticism, noting that many emperors have pursued immortality. The master then shares philosophical teachings about contrasts, desires, and the nature of existence. The master explains that even sages struggle to eliminate desires for basic needs, satiety, and vitality. They describe how wise leadership satisfies people's fundamental needs while protecting them from greed, allowing humanity to flourish like flowers in a wilderness. The companion perceives that the master's plan is approaching its final stage. The master confirms this observation and mentions they won't see each other for some time, entrusting remaining matters in Cerulean City to the companion named U. A new conversation begins with someone addressing the leader of the great minds in Emion. They discuss immortality and the Cerulean Blight, pondering whether living for thousands of years might be a remarkable existence rather than a plague. The conversation shifts to concerns about the Cerulean Blight halting natural reproduction and evolution. One speaker explains that the Blight would stop biological mutations that drive evolution, eliminating infinite possibilities for future species, an outcome they must prevent. The discussion turns to a secretive group called Nemesis, whose members are referred to as apostles. Despite their reduced numbers, the group remains powerful and potentially connected to the Cerulean Blight crisis, with possible infiltrators hidden beyond detection. Rather than speculating about hidden enemies, they decide to focus on their own tasks to minimize vulnerabilities. Though they can't address the root cause with Master Yuanxian in Xingyu City, they can work to resolve the crisis in Cerulean City. The scene changes to someone being warned to stay close and not get lost. They learn that Cerulean City's water supply is contaminated, requiring water to be transported from other regions. The Bureau of Husbandry plans to hold the Harvest Festival remotely. Someone encounters a person in need of help, being attacked by animals that have delayed water delivery. After being rescued, the person asks for assistance distributing water to neighborhood residents, highlighting the ongoing crisis in Cerulean City. A government worker delivers water to a household that points out they've been shorted on their allocation. The worker realizes their mistake in calculating the proper amount for 5 people and promises to make up for the shortage immediately. The family graciously suggests giving their water to neighbors across the street who have an elderly man requiring care. When the government worker delivers this extra water, the neighbors express appreciation but mention the elderly man doesn't need much water, as he's been losing his appetite despite being in his 80s. The neighbors suggest redirecting the water to those with greater need, particularly people at the hospital. Meanwhile, someone requests help clearing dangerous creatures from a bus intended to transport patients out of the city. A pregnant woman named Miss Yang is leaving the city due to hospital overcrowding and concerns about the polluted Grandeur River affecting her baby. She mentions her baby hasn't been kicking much lately, making her nervous, and shares her hope that her child will grow up in a better world. A brief domestic scene shows a family with a child who will soon have a sibling. The parents believe they'll have a sweet baby girl, creating a tender moment amid the ongoing crisis. The scene shifts to grain transportation efforts from Cerulean City. The Bureau of Roads and Travel is working at full capacity to distribute stored grain to various regions. Biological mutations caused by contaminated water have created dangerous animals that attack transportation fleets. A convoy of 30 trucks carrying various food supplies prepares to travel from Songlan City to the Northland region. The captain explains they're escorting the supplies to a checkpoint outside the city where the Cerulean Blight hasn't affected animals yet. The truck captain describes how drivers from all over Keene have come to help transport supplies. He postponed his retirement to assist with the crisis, noting they need to transport 40 million tons of grain during fall and winter, requiring approximately 1 million truckloads. After reaching a checkpoint, they encounter workers building pipelines who are being attacked by contaminated oxen. The workers explain they're constructing temporary water pipes to address water shortages in Kanglin City by reversing the water diversion project. The pipeline workers have made impressive progress, laying 225 kilometers of pipe in just 4 days, with help from 400 volunteers from different regions. Everyone hopes completing the pipelines ahead of schedule will allow the Harvest Festival to proceed smoothly. Something strange is happening with the water pipes. Despite claims that the water inside isn't from the contaminated Grandeur River, contaminated animals are increasingly attacking the pipelines in an organized manner, suggesting the water might actually be from the polluted source. Someone deliberately contaminated water pipes to attract feral animals. A repair team is working to fix the damage while dealing with these dangerous creatures. The pipes are successfully repaired, allowing the construction team to evacuate safely. The team leader mentions not remembering everyone on the temporary engineering crew. Meanwhile, people heading to the city are struggling with aggressive animals attacking their wagon containing precious drinking water. A soil sample labeled moon soil from the Grand Monument needs delivery to the former head of the Bureau of Husbandry and Agriculture. The group decides to personally deliver it together. Upon arrival, there's a surprising reunion when they discover the recipient is Mr. Nong Tse, founder of Sanglan City and first director of the Bureau of Husbandry and Agriculture. Both the head librarian and Scene appear to know him already. Mr. Nong receives the soil sample he's been waiting for. He explains it's not actual moon soil, but a synthetic imitation created with similar properties. He plans to use it for experimental space. Despite evacuation orders, Mr. Nong remains at his home to continue his work. He has a small lab simulating moon-based conditions where he's attempting to grow crops in moon soil. So far, none of his rice experiments have sprouted. Mr. Nong invites everyone for a meal. While waiting, he mentions to Shin that younger generations don't understand the horrors of famine, having never experienced it themselves. The conversation turns to a terrible famine that occurred in the western region about 15 years ago. This leads to a flashback about a child named Jiahua, who suffered during this period. The famine lasted nearly 3 years, with countless horrifying incidents. Many refugees from the western region, including someone named Xian, came to Songlan City. The head librarian hopes future generations will grow up in a better world. Songlan City developed over 5 years to become the granary of Shen. Mr. Nong is highly respected for establishing the city after experiencing the Western famine. His dream was ensuring no one in Shen would ever go hungry. Mr. Nong earned the revered title of the Sower, an honor referencing Ji Sha, Xian's first emperor and ancestor of agriculture. The title recognizes those making significant agricultural contributions. Despite his deteriorating health, Mr. Nong refuses to relocate to the city. Wuxia, a local vigilante, notices something troubling the head librarian. The conversation is interrupted when water vapor begins gathering mysteriously, suggesting an imminent threat. A confrontation begins with someone who appears responsible for the animal attacks. The prepared adversary engages in combat with Shin, who fights back using special abilities. Mr. Nong emerges after cooking. Unaware of the danger, the group apologizes for the interruption and leaves to handle the emergency while trying to protect Mr. Nong. Authorities search for individuals matching a description and identify Wuxi from the Western region. Despite appearing to be a model citizen with no criminal record, Wuxi becomes a person of interest. Records show he supports a seriously ill sister, his only living relative. An investigation reveals that a person named Wuxi has special encryption that requires higher clearance to access. Surveillance shows he leads a regular life between home, work, and visiting his sister in the hospital. He also frequently visits Mr. Nong Tse's residence near Granger River outside Songlin City. Someone apologizes for losing track of Wuxi and failing to retrieve a waist badge that represents authority as Secretary of the Bureau of Oversight and Integrity. The badge alone has limited power, as government orders require review and approval before authorization. Mr. Nong Tse is suspected of manipulation, as accidents occurred near his residence. All involved people are from Imian and Wakexiu. Wuxi's sister Tiaohua suffers from a chronic disease predicted to be fatal by summer, but her condition has improved unexpectedly, possibly due to cerulean water. Orders are given to monitor the city for Wuxi and keep watch on his sister at the hospital. Yuan Zero is requested to monitor the outskirts. Someone reacts to hearing Tiaohua's name but dismisses it as nothing important. An older person mentions trouble sleeping and invites someone to stay and share a reheated meal. They reassure their guest that the food is safe as they eat together. A harvest festival's origins are explained. About 10 years ago, after a Western region famine, the Well-Being Office expanded the western path for supply transportation. The final bridge was completed in fall, and Songlin City was established that same year. The first grain train departed from Songlin Station, delivering freshly harvested crops to the western region. A small ceremony was organized, but attendance far exceeded expectations. Many workers in Songlin City were refugees from the western region, drawn by memories of their homeland. Western region residents crowded the station, unable to return home, but taking comfort that the train would bring food they cultivated to their homeland. The train received a grand welcome in the western region, and people sent numerous thank you letters and children's drawings. The narrator expresses guilt about being too late with the railroad construction and crop cultivation. They once wondered when salvation would come to the land, but realized humans must become their own saviors. The gathering became an annual tradition, eventually officially named the Harvest Festival. A surveillance operation is underway. Wuxi has disappeared without a trace. Meanwhile, barricades are being set up along patrol routes. Citizens are told to stay home despite the upcoming Harvest Festival, with promises that the festival will happen on time. Wuxi is spotted moving from Sector 6 towards Sector 5. Officers are notified, but they lose him again. A citizen claims to have seen someone climbing onto rooftops heading toward the square and is told to go home for safety. The target moves to the rooftops. Field personnel are ordered to disperse and surround the central square, blocking all roads to prevent a Cerulean beast from escaping. The target's last known location is in front of Nong Tse Pavilion. They realize Wuxi might be targeting the central agricultural system in Nong Tse Pavilion, which manages farmlands throughout the fertile plains. The system requires authorization from both Director Feng and the narrator for any changes, and has been deactivated since a contamination incident. The system's functions include seeding, pest control, fertilization, and sprinkling. They discover the city's 250,000 sprinklers across forests, parks, and greenbelts are interconnected with the system, revealing Wuxi's potential plan. Someone urgently heads to City Hall to activate a citywide broadcast despite regulatory violations. They insist the situation is too urgent to follow normal protocols and offer to take full responsibility for any consequences. The broadcast department prepares for an emergency announcement. Zilin Jing, executive of the Bureau of Oversight and Integrity, announces that the Granger River has been contaminated. The government has decided to advance the harvest festival despite this crisis to demonstrate resilience. Reports indicate sabotage of the centralized agricultural system. The perpetrators plan to activate sprinklers during the harvest festival, flooding the city with contaminated water. All citizens are urged to return home immediately. Officials notice Director Feng is missing. He hasn't been at the office for days without requesting leave. The discussion turns to who might have access to the agricultural system. Mr. Nong Tse, former director of the Bureau of Husbandry and Agriculture, is mentioned as having highest-level access to the system. He practically founded Cerulean City and can modify commands without review. A photo is presented showing the person who directly sabotaged the agricultural system. Someone recognizes him as Director Feng's guard, which is surprising since Feng previously declined having an official guard. The pieces fall into place as officials realize Feng Lin is behind the disaster. They doubt they'll catch him in Cerulean City, as he likely has an escape plan already prepared. Someone communicates with the head librarian, confirming that Wu Shu is Feng Lin's follower, and they're both trying to undermine Cerulean City. Mr. Nong reveals he knows Feng Lin well. Feng and his guard Wu Shu used to visit him, though they seemed preoccupied with something they wouldn't discuss. Mr. Nong gives the head librarian an authentication token for accessing the centralized agricultural system. He describes it as the most important key in Cerulean City and hopes it will help. Someone instructs the head librarian to go to the central square to meet Sin, who is engaged in battle. A bear has broken into the city, causing damage despite citizen evacuation. The elite members gather at the central square while others execute a backup plan. They need to manually close all 250,000 sprinkler valves throughout the city to prevent contaminated water from being sprayed. With fewer than 30 people available, each person would need to close nearly 10,000 valves. Despite the impossibility of the task, they commit to trying, following their philosophy of practicality. They determine they have less than 3 hours before the sprinklers activate. The task seems impossible, closing 80,000 valves per hour, 14,000 per minute, 23 per second. Despite the daunting numbers, officials from various departments pledge their support. They will clear streets, mobilize transportation, provide guides familiar with pipeline layouts, and broadcast emergency announcements. A crisis unfolds in Cerulean City as officials work together to handle an emergency. Secretary Cheng, from the Bureau of Oversight and Integrity, is acknowledged as the backbone of the government while being reminded that all departments are integral to the city's functioning. The situation appears dire with time running out. Maintenance crews express doubt about their ability to turn off all sprinklers within the 3-hour deadline, describing it as needing a miracle to succeed. A breakthrough occurs as residents step out to close valves in their neighborhoods. With over 96% of valves closed, the potential damage is minimized. An emergency communication arrives from the head librarian of Emian regarding Sin and others attempting to stop someone named Wu Shu. A visitor interacts with the central agricultural system, which reveals all 252,017 valves in the city are closed, with 250,039 manually locked. The system confirms Wuxia never activated the sprinkler system, leaving everyone confused about the purpose of the crisis. The scene shifts to a family sharing their last jar of wine. Their modest gathering is interrupted by a traveler requesting food, who notices the aroma of maiden rose wine. The family declines to share their precious wine. Trouble arrives as intruders smell the wine and threaten the family. The situation escalates, but is interrupted by an unexpected development. A mysterious visitor drinks the last of the wine and offers to grant a wish as payment. A boy named Wu Shu asks to be taken away to find his sister Chawa. The visitor agrees, setting Wuxia on a path that will shape his future. A master entrusts Wuxia with remaining matters in Songling City, encouraging him to follow his heart. The master expresses love for the people of Xian and confidence they will help establish what he calls an eternal paradise. Someone awakens from a dream, troubled by unfinished tasks and experiments. They express fear about children not having enough to eat or getting sick. Another person reassures them they've done excellently and promises no one will go hungry or fall ill again. A confrontation occurs where someone is told they have extraordinary abilities, even to make rain go back to the sky or flip heaven and earth if they wished. Two individuals meet after what appears to be a millennium. They exchange tense words, with one being addressed by multiple names, including Sower, Gixia, and the First Emperor. They discuss northern visitors interested in something called Cerulean water. The scene shifts to a monitoring situation where all indicators remain unchanged since the head librarian left the city. Advanced measurements reveal that time flow in Changning City has stopped completely, isolating it from the natural flow of time like an island detached from the world. The Library of Babel stands as a focal point in the unfolding crisis. The situation appears dire, with no immediate solution in sight. Despite the urgency, there's a reluctance to take hasty action that might worsen things. The Cerulean Blight continues to pose a significant threat, with its root cause still undetermined. A temporary containment strategy seems to be the most prudent approach until more information can be gathered about this mysterious contamination. Master Yuan Kun emerges as another key figure alongside the head librarian. The community places their collective hope in these leaders, looking to them for guidance through this crisis that threatens their way of life. What initially appeared to be a trivial skill or approach proves inadequate for the magnitude of the problem at hand. The realization dawns that more drastic measures will be necessary to address the Cerulean Blight effectively. A shift in tactics becomes evident as the situation escalates. The casual approach is abandoned in favor of a more serious strategy, indicating the gravity of the threat facing Songling City and its inhabitants. A dramatic revelation occurs when someone or something declares itself to be the plague. This personification of the Cerulean Blight represents a turning point in understanding the nature of what they're fighting against. The command to retreat signals a tactical withdrawal in the face